Alright, the last one is by Undaril Pants Halo. We had one of theirs yesterday with 2288 copy of A, and now they wrote 2299, which is honestly cool that they got to write. Yeah, here we go. It's kind of cool that they got to write like the double, like the 2288 and then 2299. That's pretty nice. Pretty nice, pretty good. Okay, Ontario Pants. What is this SCP that you wrote called? Cephalensis -9. Okay. I don't know what that means, but we'll find out. Oh, it's a kettle. Last one of this 100 SCPs that we got to read before we step into a milestone again next weekend. Alright, let's go. Classified. Special contained procedures. All cases of SB2299 infection are to be contained at Site 116, formerly the town of Washington. The town and all its residents are to be confined on site, and all births and deaths are to be noted by on-site personnel. Should affected individuals make an attempt to approach Foundation personnel for any reason, they are to be turned away immediately. Personnel are not allowed to engage any affected individuals in any extended conversation. New additions are to be integrated in groups of 4 or more to ensure safety in the event of community rejection. MTF Upsilon 51 Red Hand is to be dispatched to any incident of SB2299 and must consist of at least 3 separate teams alternating on active duty to maintain a perpetual state of high alert. All social media outlets and digital forums, including clear communication between users, incoherent text should be noted and investigated. Any significant reports of large-scale violence atypical for the region or reporting unusual communication should be investigated as a potential outbreak. So yes, it was still pretty rough. Hey, no worries, man. Welcome, Howard. Welcome to Fluff. We had the last one. Today went a lot better reading-wise than yesterday. I was definitely a lot more energetic. Maybe I should have skipped yesterday. But if I did skip yesterday, then I wouldn't have gotten the raid from Nene. So, you live and learn. Each day is an experience. But are you doing okay, man? You still stressed out with the whole situation in the U.S.? Extreme caution must be maintained as confirmed. Which, by the way, I am as well. If the answer is yes, I am as well. You'll be fine? You sure? Extreme caution must be maintained as confirmed instances of SB2299 are fully aware of outside observation and will take extreme measures to evade capture. If an individual is known to have been infected within a 24-hour period, they are to undergo Class A amnestics treatment as quickly as possible. Cases that have persisted untreated for more than 30 hours are to be restrained and terminated if necessary. All remains are to be incinerated, including personal effects and clothing. Description: SB2299 is an unknown phenomenon which occurs seemingly at random, targeting groups of people between 4 and 600,000 in number. God. Over the course of 30 to 36 hours, SB2299 significantly alters the host's mental faculties, causing damage to the hippocampus, the ventromedial prefrontal cortex, and overall reduction in function of the frontal lobe. Portion of the brain responsible for spatial recognition and navigation, as well as the formation of the new memories and cortex. Responsible for processing fear and risk, as well as regulating emotions. Okay, so that's... So you will lose the observation of space and navigation, so you will get lost, and also you will have your way of fear of handling fear will be different. Affected individuals typically suffer severe mental degradation and physical damage consistent with traumatic encephalopathy. The most consistent symptoms exhibited by the host have been restricted blood flow to the anterior cingulate cortex, and an increase in size and blood flow to the amygdala, a portion of the brain responsible for rational decision making, empathy, and impulse control. Well, that's already not good if that doesn't get enough blood flow. The most prominent signs involve affected individuals holding fluid conversations despite suffering from severe aphasia. When manifesting digitally, individuals display severe grammatical errors and incoherent text indicative of improper hand placement while typing. Prior to SCP-2299's operation, individuals have described a 30 to 40 second period of sensory overload during which the individual are said to feel momentarily panic-stricken while having a very strong taste of blood or metal. Following this, SCP-2299's brain-altering effects begin to take place, accompanied by a strong odor of ammonia or formaldehyde lasting up to 2 days following affliction. Discovery. SCP-2299 was first detected in the town of Washington, where residents reported witnessing what was described as a giant ghostly octopus, encompassing much of the sky for 10 to 15 minutes. Photographs taken by the residents showed the anomaly to be indistinct, but apparently resembling a disembodied spinal column, with the vertebrae extending into tendrils. Doppler radar did not detect anything unusual in the region beyond a brief spike in humidity, which had begun to dissipate when the reported event occurred. The incident itself was connected to SCP-2299 when outbreaks matching the observed events occurred in separate cities, preceded by the sudden apparition of the image in the sky. Interviews with affected individuals indicate most have never witnessed the event, while those who have described it as having appeared and disappeared. Within a fraction of a second, thus far only the first reported sighting of the apparition has remained longer than a fraction of a second. While those who have... Okay, gotcha. Method of action. Persons infected by SCP-2299 typically go through 5 discernible stages of infection. 6 to 20 minutes, subjects begin to display symptoms such as poor motor control, trembling, sporadic instances of short-term memory loss, confabulation, hypoxia, and in rare instances, potentially fatal temporal lobe epilepsy. The interpretation of fictional events as real memory. Oh. I wonder how many people have that actually. Subjects are highly uncomfortable discussing their symptoms with anyone but close friends or family members. 1 to 4 hours, subjects will begin to experience spikes in blood flow to the amygdala, prompting abnormal growth of the amygdala, a process which has proven fatal in 1 to 2% of those infected. Further damage occurs to the anterior cingulate cortex, inducing a state of greatly exaggerated fear, anxiety, and paranoia. Subjects at this stage begin to seek out others, engaging either in like-minded discussion or arguments. 4 to 6 hours, adrenaline and dopamine flow. Adrenaline and dopamine flow is stimulated when the subject engages in a series of actions or activities which led to violent encounters with others. Affected individuals begin to identify one another via shared symptoms and begin to cooperate with one another in committing violent acts, usually directed against others who are not affected, although affected individuals have been noted assaulting one another. 6 to 15 hours, affected individuals taking part in larger groups will begin pushing for an escalation of violence against individuals not affected by SCP-2299. Subjects at this point tend to withdraw completely from friends and family members who are not affected. Those who remain in contact tend to steer all conversations towards socio-economic, political, and religious topics, or more often topics involving a supposedly hypothetical invasion by transdimensional humans. 15-30 hours. Organized groups consisting of infected individuals tend towards more coordinated and organized acts of violence, including small acts of terrorism and ritual involving imitations of cannibalism. Groups will systematically single out unaffected individuals and subjects, them either to liquidation or rectification, the former being a ritualized execution, the latter an apparent attempt to spread the condition via complete blood transfusion with several of the affected. After 30 to 36 hours, further alteration of the affected individual brain caused by SCP-2299 cease. Adrenaline and dopamine levels stabilize, allowing for more complex thought and calculations. At this point, the affected individual appears to function normally within their community and in most cases is indistinguishable from an unaffected individual. Observation log. An outbreak of SCP-2299 was reported in the town of some kilometers from its reported point of origin, Washington. Foundation personnel moved in to contain the site within 2.5 hours of first report. Agents and Class D personnel in various disguises were dispatched to the town to engage in conversation with affected personnel in 2-hour patrol intervals. All involved personnel were instructed not to contradict or antagonize the affected townspeople. Timestamp record incident, so we have 1640. Personnel arrive on site and enter a local bar. Subjects within are engaged in excited conversation of a political nature. Remarks contain a strong misogynistic leaning, with certain politicians denigrated for being pussy whipped regardless of political party. The class are invited to participate in conversation. Cameras note several instances of spilled drinks and dropped glasses as most individuals have their hands trembling and are blinking rapidly. Conversation briefly halted as one individual suffers an epileptic seizure and is taken to the local clinic. Someone remarks that the victim must have been an ape or an ape. Okay. 18. Personal witness a man arguing with a young woman in the street. The topic appears to involve the merits of grapes over saline capsules. Most individuals flee the scene while a sizable group of men arrive and take up the argument, disseminating it along largely socio-economic lines. Another group, consisting largely of older men and women, begin to assault the others. All groups disbanded following arrival of police. 1934, 2 o'clock. Two females are included in D-class group. Few of the subjects make note of them unless directly confronted. Conversation in the street begin to take on a strong naturalistic tone, while others explicitly involve the romanticizing of Civil War genitals. Personnel are approached by a man and a woman asking if they saw someone smiling too much like a shark. The affected individuals express disbelief at the negative response and dismiss the D-class as blind idiots. 11 o'clock. Most of the residents are awake as police officers arrest several individuals near the town square. An angry mob it's midnight, is protesting and violence escalates as rocks and beer bottles are flung at the officers. Shots are fired and D-class personnel flee the scene. As they depart, they are stopped by a man armed with a shotgun who addresses the personnel, including accompanying a female agent, as Harold, a close friend of the subject. Subject does not distinguish between personnel and invites the four Harold over for a breakfast in the morning. Personnel respectively declines and depart without further incident. 8 or 8 o'clock. Personnel find several houses boarded up with police officers. This whole town sounds like a mess, dude. Like everything's happening at once. It's like everybody's going at each other's throats. Things are not what they seem. People are confusing reality with fiction, so on and so forth. There's so much going wrong. Personnel find several houses boarded up, with police officers patrolling streets near the local bar with marked frequency. Several armed men outside the bar apparently keeping watch. within it reminds me of the one horror movie. Forgot what it's called and forgot what the country is from, but because like I'm starting to get tired, so my brain's not working. But it's like one where people get infected, and they like their rage and sexual needs get like super increased. So they go around, like attacking people, and they have like the red eyes. So I almost imagine that, but instead of getting super aggressive and sexually very uncontrollable, it seems like they're getting more like super afraid, and the aggression is still there because like they will defend themselves, but yeah, they're just hyper paranoid to the extent that they would stay away from everybody, fight people who are in their way, who stop them from getting away from things, and so on and so forth. Like even like thinking that they see certain things that doesn't exist. Within the billiard area had been cleared out, allowing for bare-chested men and women to participate in impromptu bare-knuckle boxing matches. Many of the men and women have not left the bar since the day before. Uh, 10:30. Police maintain a heavy presence near the bar, although the armed men have disappeared. Personnel enter the bar and find everyone within calm and collected. In groups of two, the men slowly begin to leave the bar, heading out the back exit. Personnel exit the bar and are briefly accosted by local police. Officers release the D-class after identifying them as out-of-towners. Personnel note that the officers are highly agitated and trembling noticeably. Yeah, so they're very nervous as well. Yeah, so it looks like a bunch of people are infected. 10:50, officers begin to surround and enter the bar. A bomb is detonated moments later, killing many of the officers and collapsing the small building. Personnel flee the scene. Yeah, I can imagine that somebody who's super paranoid decided to just make a bomb to protect themselves because they think something dangerous is inside there. 11 o'clock, much of the male populace, along with sporadic females of the town, emerges from their homes fully armed. Questioned by personnel to state they are going hunting and head towards the western outskirts of the town. Many individuals have blood or dye coating their right hands in an apparently ritualistic fashion. Oh boy. 11:32 o'clock. Personnel station themselves on the roof of a house near the outskirts of town. Subjects are witnessed hunting the female population from whom they have apparently herded into a 500-acre region of the town. What the fuck is this? 11:45 o'clock. Observation is ended and town placed under quarantine. Yeah, bet you better. Nobody should walk in that town. Affected individuals have proven resilient to interrogation attempts. After necessitating 10 to 18 hours of uninterrupted dialogue by skilled interrogators in order to ascertain relevant information, from such interrogation it has been determined that the affected individual may be faintly aware of the existence of SCP-2299 as a physical affliction, with some regarding it as a minor nuisance and others as a vital supplement. The sole consistent factor between affected individuals apparently aware of SCP-2299 has been in associating it and those affected by it with number 9, like the title. A single interview log has been retained due to potential relevancy in discerning the nature of SCP-2299. It's also cool that this one is called Cephalensis 9 and it's 2299, so cool. Interview log. Interviewed V. Madsen, former resident of Washington, and interviewer Dr. Anna Sobotka. Log skips ahead by 22 minutes. To repeat, you're well aware of this. Cephalensis 9. How did you become aware of it? Pretty easy. Everyone was outside looking at the big tentacle cloud. Oh, my nose is itchy. Taking pictures. I didn't care. I was at first smoke. Suddenly I'm getting chills and shaking. Then everyone else in town starts up. Head to the clinic and it's damn near empty. The doctor says I'm fine, but I see his hands are trembling and he's struggling to write. So I start up a casual conversation with him and lo and behold, we start getting pretty friendly. Turns out we got a lot in common. What sort of things did you have in common? Just things. Ways of thinking, that sort of thing. What about the name? Cephalensis 9. Where did that come from? Are you East European, Miss Sobotka? Sobotka sounds Polish, I think. I am of Polish descent, yes. Weird. You don't really look too Polish. What? Are you sure your parents were pure Polish? You got some decidedly non-European features to you. Might be a bit of miscegenation of in your line. What the fuck is this?
Miscegenation.
Miscegenation. Okay. Sexual relationship or reproduction between people of different ethnic groups, especially when one of them is white. Oh, okay. Well, in your line, the name, please, Mr. Madsen. Just sound right. It was like word association. Hear a word, say the first thing that pops into your head. Every time I thought about the thing, I got words like cephalus popping in my head. Then it morphed to cephalensis, so I started calling it that, and it stuck. I rather like it. The 9 part, well, makes it sound more refined that way, you know. Like cephalensis 1 through 8 just weren't good enough, but cephalensis 9 came out just right. You said earlier that you noticed a sharp increase in violent discussion amongst your neighbors, am I right? Some chattering, nothing serious. Had some very enlightened discussion on Zionism with them. It was nice to have a receptive audience for once. Too many Americans just to refuse to hear the truth. At what point did it escalate into violence? Do you know what the truth I'm talking about, Anna? Why does such a small ethnic group wield such a disproportionate amount of political power and influence? Have you ever wondered why Zionism got so much traction in the West? Oh boy, this is... Please stay focused, Mr. Madsen. Took barely 2 hours. Guys started polishing their guns, scanning up empty beer bottles, take spare tanks to the gas station, just in case. They all said it with a smile. Were you doing the same? No. I don't even know a gun. Were you directly involved in that led to the rioting in front of redacted high school? I didn't hurt anyone. None of the individuals affected by cephalensis 9 we have encountered have displayed any anti-Semitic tendencies. They had quite a lot to say about us uninfected, however. Are you sure you had such a receptive audience? What? You expect them to be vocal about it? Howling, expletive in the streets and all? When has this been written? Okay, that's edited. Interesting. It doesn't seem logical. To keep quiet about wanting to kill Jews, but have no problem threatening to kill anyone not like them, Jew or not. You think we all got infected by some crazy mutant virus that is turning us all into racist zombies attacking and killing each other? Well, really promising to right. I mean, yes, that's exactly what we think. That's exactly what we think, my man. My woman, my lady. Concerned citizens worried about the state of the community. From what I've read, your community is among the best in the state. Very low crime, plenty of decent, hardworking people getting along just fine. No major complaints about the mayor or the local police. No neighborly feuds escalating to dramatic confrontations or brawls in the streets. Why start now? You know what vaccines are, right? Oh, fucking hell. Vaccines were made to make us stronger. And the way you overcome... Okay. The way you overcome a sickness is by being exposed to that sickness just a bit. So our immune system can take a peek and figure out just how best to handle it. It hurts for a bit, yeah. But in the long run, it helps us. Prepares us for the future battle with the illness so we can survive. Oh yeah, okay, I understand what it's trying to say. Okay. Cephalensis is like a vaccine then? Yes, it's helping us. It sees we can't properly function, so it comes down like the hand of God giving us a push in the right direction. that's like a vaccine. Shit, sorry, that's not how vaccines work. More like a bit of artificial selection gave us a quick little boost. Why is an alien influence making people kill each other a boost? I didn't say alien. Then what is it for? I already told you. Someone clearly screwed up. Is all. Who screwed up? Whatever god or government engineered it. Obviously, going back to the. I can't wait for that to be a thing that people in real life will say. Well, somebody screwed up. Who screwed up? Well, definitely God or whoever created this problem. It's like, oh, okay, sure. Going back to the original topic a bit, how do you suppose such a tiny group of people gain an ungodly level of power and influence over so many others? I really can't go on discussing this with you, Mr. Oh, it's Mr. Madsen. Okay, sorry. Yeah, of course, I'm dumb. I'm tired and dumb. Everything. Doesn't have to be Zionists, could easily be Christians in a non-Christian land, immigrants, any group of minorities who refuse to recognize they are the minority, and refuse to integrate into a society that generously accepts them and lets them be who they are. Instead, they're insular and they keep themselves walled off from everyone like them. They devote their entire lives to the tribe or tribes. They think they're being persecuted and they act accordingly. There's nothing wrong with borrowing from them, adapting the my tribe mentality for the majority. You sound very racist there, Mr. Madsen. Right now, Mr. Madsen, you and others like you are not the majority. You all suffered significant brain damage from whatever this affliction was, and it's over now. Sure, of course it is. Thank you for your time, Mr. Madsen. Whatever. Despite the allegation of Mr. Madsen, it is very unlikely any of his ideological rhetoric played a role in either triggering or exasperating the outbreaks of violence among the affected individuals. Mr. Madsen's attention of his pre-existing prejudice may be purely incidental alongside the effects of SB 2299. Yeah, I think he was a piece of shit from the beginning. I don't think this had anything to do with the SCP. It may have amplified that by a lot, but I think it was already there. Note, based upon the subject's response and questions, a working theory has emerged that SB2299 may not have been intended as a destructive anomalous effect, but misengineered or otherwise unintended for human physiology. Yeah, and we're done. Let me just write the a disease that makes you hyper paranoid, delusional, and super aggressive. And it started in the US. Great. as if they don't have enough on their plates. But yeah, we're done. We have finished the 2200s today. We reached the end. Fantastic. That means next weekend we have a milestone next weekend. 2300. I'm excited. It's always exciting to start a new 100. It's also always exciting to start a new series, of course, but a new 100 is like the smaller version of that. So I'm looking forward to that stuff. Hell yeah.